Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello everyone and welcome to Photo Finds. I'm your host, Gavin Hatch. This week we're coming to you from California. The other night, Patrick and I had a chance to go ahead and enjoy Halloween Horror Nights here in Hollywood at Universal Studios Hollywood. This was my first time going to Halloween Horror Nights there. I've been to the park before during the day and I love it, and I was really excited to see this at night, and I cannot tell you how much fun we had. So I cannot wait to show you, but before we start with the Halloween Horror Nights, let's take a look at the entrance here. It was still daylight when we arrived. We got there early. They let some guests in starting around 4 o'clock. There were certain passes you can purchase to enter the park at that time. This is, of course, is the Globe, and it does look different from the ones at the other Universal parks around the world, including Orlando. And I was really impressed by the security team at Universal Studios Hollywood and their security checkpoint setup here. They don't have like a hub that Universal Orlando has. They do have a huge city walk though, a much bigger city walk than what we have, with a lot more restaurants, but not as much nightclub access. But the city walk area does not have security checkpoints. It's all in front of the main archways and the entrance to the park. Now, Hollywood also has an archway as a main entranceway. Their turnstiles, though, are located at the archway, so you don't walk past them and then walk past ticket booths. It's ticket windows, and then you have the archway where the main entrance turnstiles are. And they also, like Orlando, do advertise all the intellectual property houses that the park has, and that is, well, everything in Hollywood is intellectual properties. They don't have any original houses. Everything is based on intellectual property. So they do have all these houses advertised, and also the scare zones, the purge scare zones, up at the archways here on these banners. Now, in Orlando, at all the theme parks, not just Universal, when it comes to pricing for tickets, if you have a child ages 3 to 9 years old, they're considered a child and they receive, of course, a child discount. Anyone 10 and above is charged as an adult. Now, in Universal Hollywood, though, and I'm not sure if this is the same for other California parks, but instead of age, it's based on height. So if you have a child under 48 inches, they will go ahead and receive a discount, not based on their age. So that's interesting, and it makes sense because they have different types of rides over here, not as many as Orlando, not a big variety, but yeah, that's how it works. Now, if there was one thing that I could bring back to Orlando, it would be the wardrobe that Universal Hollywood now has. This was recently rolled out, and this is what the team members up in entrance operations wear. They have a red button-up, they have the vest. For the gentlemen, they wear ties. For the ladies, they have the bandana or scarf there. So I think this looks so great, and it's not just turnstiles that wears this, it's also the vacation planners and the ticket windows, guest services, will call, they all wear this, and it looks great. And I love the hats too. Hats, I mean, come on, those look great. And then you have inside the park, and you'll notice on their name tags are a little different. They're not just generic Universal Hollywood name tags. They are gold movie tickets, but once you go inside the park, depending on the area that you're visiting, such as Jurassic Park, the name tags are different. So Jurassic Park has a Jurassic Park name tag. Transformers has their own name tags. It's just different. It's not the same name tag for everyone resort wide. So I think that's a really cool touch as well. Now, for those of you that are Potter fans and want to experience the new Wizarding World of Harry Potter in Hollywood, it will not be open during Halloween Horror Nights, so I do suggest you go during the day because they do close it at 5:30, which is 30 minutes before the park closes, before they get ready for Halloween Horror Nights to begin. So please go during the day. Don't try to go to this at night because it will not be open. In Orlando, though, Diagon Alley is open during HHN. Now, just strolling through the park, I noticed that they now also have their own version of Springfield USA. Of course, Orlando has that as well at Universal Studios Florida, but I do prefer the one in Hollywood a little bit more just because it is more detailed, it is larger, and I think it just looks great. It's interesting because they don't have just one restaurant, Fast Food Boulevard. They have all the different restaurants like Moe's Tavern and Krusty Burger they all have them separated as their own individual restaurants throughout the land. So it's not a huge land, but it's still very nice. And you'll notice here the police car that is parked in Orlando has hit a fire hydrant, and that's a water feature. But in Hollywood, it does not hit a fire hydrant, it hits a light pole. So I wonder if that's because, of course, there is the drought issue, so they try to conserve water as much as possible in California. So I wonder if that's why they put a light pole here instead of the fire hydrant, because they don't want water shooting out. Of course, that'd be kind of a waste of water. So I think that's probably why they switched it out and did a light pole instead. Now, if you're not familiar with Universal Studios Hollywood, it's comprised of two areas. You have the upper lot, which is where a lot of the theme park attractions are located, and that's where, it feels definitely more like a theme park up there. Then you have the lower lot, and the lower lot is where you go and you can experience 3 other attractions. That is where Jurassic Park, Transformers, and the Revenge of the Mummy roller coaster is located. But the lower lot, behind the scenes, that's actually where all the productions take place for film and for television. It's amazing. It's a beautiful facilities. They have amazing sound stages all around. It's huge. You can see it when you're going down to the lower lot. To get to the lower lot, you do take 4 escalators, and these escalators, it's about a 5-minute process. They're very large, but again, they give you some amazing views of the lower lot and of the sound stages, the back lots where they filmed such iconic films such as Back to the Future and Jurassic Park, all filmed there on this back lot. And then you also can even see other studios in the area, such as Warner Brothers Studios is also not too far off in the distance. You can see their logo on one of their sound stages. Now, once I was on the lower lot, I got a little sad because I noticed that they tore down and replaced the NBC Universal experience with a cafe. It was right across the street from Transformers The Ride 3D, and I loved it because it was like a museum. You walked through and you got to learn and be educated on the history of the company. And they had great pictures and videos of the studio and the back lot and just the history of everything that has to do with NBC Universal. They even had one of the original DeLoreans used for Back to the Future that was restored recently, and they put it in a glass case and had it in there, and it was beautiful and really cool to take pictures of. And it's kind of sad that that's gone, but I understand that we have to keep moving forward with new things, but I don't agree with them replacing it with more food because I feel like they have enough restaurants in this park. Now this year they have 3 houses on the back lot, American Horror Story, Freddy vs. Jason, and Krampus. So to get to those houses, you would leave the lower lot area and you keep walking and take you to the back lot area. And of course it's all guided and they have fences so to make sure guests aren't veering off into areas they shouldn't be. But to get to the back lot, you have to go ahead and walk through something they call Purge or Die. It's a tunnel, and this tunnel is here, of course, every day of the year, and they use it during the day for operations. But then for this event, you walk through it to get to the back lot, and they have music going, they have lots of lights, and they have scare actors from The Purge. It's really overwhelming, a lot of fun, and almost disorienting, and it's a lot of people, that's for sure, going through here, and it's a lot of fun though. You get to go to the back lot, and the back lot is where, of course, they film all these great movies and television shows, and you kind of get to see areas where that's done. But again, they have it all sectioned off, so they keep you in certain areas. But it's really neat that they let guests come back here to experience houses, and they even have some restrooms here and food as well, which we'll talk about in just a second. Now once you're on the back lot, in order to get to the houses, you have to walk through one of the scare zones, and this is park-wide. All the scare zones are themed to The Purge, and the scare zones in Hollywood are different than the ones in Florida. Since there is a bigger space and a bigger park, they have the luxury of being able to just have sections be scare zones. So the scare zones here are more like outdoor haunted houses. They're not in the streets, and you don't have to go through them if you don't want to. You can actually go around them. Here's a quick overlook. You can see the facades for the back lot, as well as, of course, they have merchandise and food being sold back here as well. The first house we did was American Horror Story. I like the one in Orlando better just because they have more of the characters from the TV show in the house at Orlando's park. Krampus was a lot better in Hollywood though. I loved this house. I should have done it multiple times, but the line was too long. Amazing house, great scares in every room. And speaking of long lines, they do sell the front of the line passes in Hollywood. This is not called Express here, it is front of the line, and you do get this really neat lanyard. I like how it's set up a little bit better. It's not a ticket, it is a lanyard, and you are allowed to go through each house and each attraction that's open once for the entire night. Next was the Freddy vs. Jason house, which is very impressive because it's a tent. Actually, all the houses at HHN Hollywood are tents. So it's surprising because when you're walking through most of them, it feels like you're in one of the sound stages in Florida, and it's just really good quality for a tent, that is for sure. Now, since you're on the back lot, they do not have restaurants there, so there's no options for food unless you bring in food trucks, and that's what they do. They brought in 2 food trucks that are run by Universal. One food truck specializes in mac and cheese products like sandwiches and such, and then the other one has tacos, and also you have nachos. Now, I got the beef tacos, and they were really good, and I think this is a great option. That way you don't have to trek all the way back up the hill to the lower lot to get food. You can stay down there and eat, and then continue doing some of the houses and the scare zone. Now next was the Exorcist house. Now this one is also in Orlando. I felt like Orlando did it a little bit better just because I felt like there was more detail to it. I like the throw up effect better in Orlando as well. But if you're a fan of the movie, it stays true to the movie. You feel like you're right in the middle of it, and it's terrifying regardless of where you're doing this. This house is scary on both East and West Coasts. This year, Orlando and Hollywood also have a Michael Myers house, and I love the front of it. This looked great, but once you're inside, since it is a tent, they weren't able to do as big of a set as Orlando, so I feel like Orlando has the better Halloween house. Now on both the upper and lower lot, you have digital wait time signs that show not only the wait times for the attractions, but also the haunted houses, and it fits in perfectly, and it's a great help, that's for sure. Of course, they also do have the free Universal app that provides wait times as well. Now, if you look closely, you'll see that Jurassic Park, the logo has changed. They have Jurassic Park the ride here. It's not called River Adventure, but at night and during HHN, it's called Jurassic Park in the Dark. Now, I wanted to see for myself what the difference was, and there wasn't really any difference up until the very end. Before you go down the giant drop, you will see that there are strobe effects and strobe lights everywhere, and it's very, very disorienting. And then they also are blasting Welcome to the Jungle. That song is blaring all throughout the building as you're about to go down the giant drop. It's a great attraction, one of my favorites, both at Islands Adventure and in Hollywood. Now, besides the haunted mazes during HHN in Hollywood, another big draw to the park for guests that come is the Tram. This is full of scare performers. It's very unique. You will go ahead and get on one of the trams, or usually with board, and it takes you to near the Psycho house, also the Dr. Seuss set, and they drop you off there on the back lot, and you walk past the Seuss set, and then you walk through the Bates Motel. It's really surreal because, of course, those are iconic sets, and getting to walk through there at night with killer clowns running around, it's terrifying, but it's a lot of fun. Now, on your way to the Bates Motel set and Psycho set, you're on the tram, and they do have screens on board that they use daily, but for HHN, they use this, and they tell a story of the clown named Koodles. Now, it's all a fictional story, of course, but it's really elaborate, and I love it. So, it's Koodles the clown. He had a show that was filmed in one of the sound stages back in the day, early days of the studio, and very successful, very popular, and a very nice guy. Now, they changed things at the studio, and the show was canceled, and he was left to just go ahead and be a performer in the park. And he was very upset about that, and definitely held a grudge, and became kind of mean, and did not like how the media portrayed clowns as being scary, when in reality they were pretty nice. But he had this vengeance against Universal, and he started just hanging around the back lot, and they couldn't find him, and he started, well, killing off tour tram drivers and tour guides that worked at the studio. So they play this whole elaborate, very well done video before you get off the tram, and it's just a great story. And they utilize and make it seem like it really did happen by using social media posts and things like that, news articles that look realistic. So I was really impressed by that. And when you get off the tram, you really think this is going on, and it's not fictional. So when you're walking through, these clowns are just everywhere, and they are messed up. But again, if you're also just a big fan of the backlot and of Universal Studios history, you'll love this as well. Even though you're getting scared, you get to see these actual set pieces from Psycho, and also War of the Worlds. And you walk through that set piece, which is just so elaborate and terrifying at night because they do great lighting effects and smoke and things like that. Now, like I said earlier, there's no alcohol sold during this event, so it is a completely dry event, which makes it a lot more enjoyable in Hollywood compared to Orlando. It's a totally different experience, and the guests personalities and the way everyone acts during the event is so different, and again, it's just a lot more enjoyable. So I definitely enjoy Hollywood keeping it dry. Now, of course, if you're thirsty, there's all kinds of different beverages. There's Powerade, there's Coca-Colas, but they do have specialty beverages that are non-alcoholic, and if you're looking for some energy, they're kind of like energy drinks. So they have the Blood Bag, which is really funny because it looks realistic, and it's fun because you drink out of the IV cord. It's neat, but it kind of like had a strawberry flavor to it. I didn't really get a lot of energy afterwards, so I'm not sure if the energy level in it is really beneficial, but it's still a sweet treat to have and something to take home. They also do have shots that look like Jello shots, but again, they're non-alcoholic. They're more like energy shots. So let's take a break from all the scary stuff and take a look at this recently opened store, the Universal Studios store in the park. The entrance is phenomenal. It's huge, and it's a great store. This was under construction last time we were here, and it just sells your generic, theme park merchandise. The same stuff you can also get over on the East Coast in Orlando, but they do have a really immersive and well-themed Harry Potter section, and I was really blown away by this. They have a lot of merchandise, and it looked great. Of course, and the East Coast parks and Islands of Adventure and also at Universal Studios, they do have in the front of the park stores, and they have certain Harry Potter sections that are well done, but this is really immersive experience when you walk through here, and it's so funny seeing merchandise saying the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Hollywood on it. But I love it, and I should have got this shirt, but since I didn't get to experience it for myself, I didn't get one, but maybe next time. Well, that will do it for this edition of Photo Finds. I hope all of you have a great week. We're going to leave you with some footage of myself and also Patrick going through the Purge scare zones on the upper lot of the park. Again, Purge takes over the park, so all the scare zones are themed to that franchise, which I love. This is a great event, so I highly recommend you guys coming over to the West Coast and checking it out if you haven't done it before. It is completely different from the one in Orlando, so make sure you come see it for yourself. It is definitely worth it. Now, make sure you subscribe to Attractions Magazine, and if you want to see more coverage of Halloween Horror Nights, as well as all the other great Halloween events going on in California, as well as Florida, make sure you watch Florida E-Ticket, or as we're calling it, Florida E-Tick or Treat. This is going to be a special series that we are using all our resources to get to these parks and have a lot of fun covering all the Halloween events. So please check it out, because we're definitely having a lot of fun doing it for you. Now, make sure you guys get out, you have fun, and you enjoy those parks.